The story begins with a group of friends enjoying a late-night party. Everyone is having fun except one girl, who sits quietly in a corner looking upset. Her friends notice her unusual behavior and ask, "What's wrong? Why do you look so sad?" She tells them that a brand new app has just been launched on the market. According to the app, it can predict the exact date and time of a person's death. She explains that she downloaded the app earlier that morning, and when she opened it, it showed that she had only 15 days left to live. Hearing this, everyone bursts into laughter. They think it's nothing more than a silly prank. Just for fun, they all download the app as well. Before installing it, each of them is shown a user agreement with terms and conditions, but like most people, they simply tap "Accept" without reading a single word. As soon as the app is activated, a countdown appears on each person's phone, showing exactly how much time they have left to live. One by one, everyone reveals their remaining lifespan. Some have 20 years left, while others have more than 60 years. But Courtney suddenly looks terrified. When she shows her phone to everyone, the app reveals that she has only 3 hours left. Once the countdown reaches 0, she will die. Courtney is horrified, but her friends laugh and reassure her, saying, "Relax, it's just a fake app." According to the game's rules, whoever has the shortest remaining lifespan has to drink all the drinks on the table. Since Courtney's countdown is the lowest, she loses the game. Just then, Courtney's boyfriend, Evan, arrives. Instead of letting Courtney drink everything, he decides to drink all the alcohol himself. After the party ends, Courtney gets into the car with Evan. Since he has had far too much to drink, she begs him not to drive, but Evan refuses to listen. Already terrified because of the app, Courtney gets out of the car and decides to walk home instead. Evan repeatedly asks her to get back in the car, but when she refuses, he gets angry and speeds away, leaving her behind. A few moments later, Courtney receives a notification from the app. It says, "You have violated the user agreement." Courtney has no idea what that means, but the message makes her even more frightened. Just then, Courtney notices a mysterious man dressed in a black coat following her. A few moments later, her phone sends another alert. It says she has only 7 minutes left to live. Panicked, Courtney rushes home as fast as she can. The moment she steps inside, she begins hearing strange, disturbing noises. At the same time, the app keeps sending loud alerts one after another. Frustrated and terrified, she switches off her phone. But to her horror, the phone turns itself back on, and the countdown starts again automatically. Suddenly, an unseen force lifts Courtney into the air, and the exact moment the countdown reaches 0, she is thrown to the ground, dying instantly from the fall. At that moment, we realize that the app is not a prank at all. It actually predicts the exact amount of time a person has left to live. Meanwhile, Courtney's boyfriend, Evan, crashes his car. Although Evan survives the accident, a large tree branch pierces straight through the passenger seat, the very seat where Courtney would have been sitting. In other words, that was supposed to be the way Courtney was meant to die. The story then shifts to a hospital, where we meet a nurse named Quinn. Carrying a meal tray, she enters a patient's room, only to discover that he has already left without eating his breakfast. Quinn already knows exactly where he must be, so she heads straight there. There, we find out that the patient is none other than Courtney's boyfriend, Evan. He is visibly shaken and completely terrified. Evan tells Quinn everything about the countdown app. He explains how Courtney downloaded it and how she died at the exact moment the app had predicted. Quinn tries to comfort him, saying it must have been nothing more than a coincidence. How could an app possibly predict the exact time someone is going to die? She asks, trying to calm him down. She encourages him to relax and prepare for his surgery, but Evan refuses to undergo the operation at any cost. After Courtney's death, he downloaded the countdown app himself. According to the app, he has only 19 hours left to live. His surgery is scheduled to take place exactly 19 hours later, and he becomes convinced that he is destined to die during the operation. Even so, Quinn reassures him that nothing bad is going to happen and encourages him to stay positive. Sometime later, Quinn meets the head nurse, who takes her to another room where the doctors and hospital staff surprise her with a cake. She has successfully passed her nursing exams, and everyone is celebrating her achievement. As they sit together eating cake, Quinn tells everyone about Evan and the mysterious countdown app. A few of her co-workers mention that they have also heard about the app. Out of curiosity and as a joke, they decide to download it themselves to see how much time they have left to live. Among them is Dr. Sullivan, the hospital's chief doctor and the most senior physician. He checks the remaining time on his phone and smiles with relief because, according to the app, he is going to live for another 90 years. The app also shows a long lifespan for everyone else. Just then, a man rushes into the hospital carrying an unconscious woman who has overdosed on drugs. Her heartbeat has stopped, and she isn't breathing. The medical team quickly injects her with emergency medication and manages to bring her back to life. After a long day at work, Quinn heads home in the evening. On her way, she receives a notification recommending the Countdown app. Not taking it seriously, she downloads it, and like everyone else, accepts all the terms and conditions without reading them. The moment the app opens, she is shocked to discover that she has only 2 days left to live. The result makes her uneasy, but she brushes it off and continues home. Quinn lives with her father and her younger sister, Jordan. Their mother died in a car accident a year earlier. The next day at the hospital, Evan is completely terrified. The countdown on his phone keeps getting lower every minute, and now he has only a few minutes left to live. Instead of going through with his surgery, he decides to escape from the hospital. As soon as he tries to leave, a notification appears on his phone saying, "You have violated the user agreement." Now we finally understand what that warning really means. Once someone sees their remaining lifespan through the app, they cannot escape the death that has been assigned to them. Earlier, Courtney tried to avoid her fate by getting out of Evan's car and walking home instead. By changing the path that was meant for her, she violated the user agreement, and she died anyway. Now Evan is making the same mistake by refusing his surgery in an attempt to cheat death. Will he be able to save himself? Let's find out. As Evan walks through the hospital, he suddenly notices a dark shadow standing behind him in a glass reflection. Startled, he immediately turns around, but no one is there. Suddenly, the glass in front of him shatters without warning. Terrified, Evan runs toward the staircase. The moment he reaches it, the power suddenly goes out, plunging the hallway into darkness. Then he hears the sound of slow footsteps approaching him. He switches on his phone's flashlight, and to his horror, he sees Courtney standing right in front of him. But she is no longer human. She has transformed into a terrifying demon. Evan turns and runs for his life, but in the panic, he drops his phone onto the stairs. Moments later, the demonic spirit catches him, kills him, and throws his body down the staircase. When Quinn arrives at the hospital, she learns that Evan has died after falling down the stairs. Hearing the news, she can't stop thinking about everything Evan had told her about. Quinn remembers how, the previous day, Evan had repeatedly told her that according to the countdown app, he would die exactly 19 hours later. Now she begins to wonder if the app was actually responsible for his death. Determined to find the truth, Quinn goes straight to the hospital morgue where Evan's body has been kept. She picks up Evan's phone and tries to unlock it. However, the phone is protected with Face ID, so she carefully pulls back the sheet covering Evan's body and holds the phone in front of his face. The phone recognizes him and unlocks. When Quinn opens the countdown app, she sees that Evan's timer has reached 0. At that moment, she becomes completely convinced that the app is not a joke. It is real. Just as she looks away from the phone and back at Evan's body, his head suddenly turns on its own and stares directly at her. Terrified, Quinn quickly pushes his body back into the freezer and slams the door shut. Now she is convinced that the same thing could happen to her. According to the app, she has only 1 day left to live. The next day, she is supposed to visit her mother's grave with her father. Quinn believes that they are destined to have a fatal car accident on the way, and that she will die there. Trying to avoid her fate, she calls her father and cancels their plan to visit the cemetery. Immediately afterward, her phone displays another notification. You have violated the user agreement. Seeing this, Quinn becomes even more frightened. Just then, Dr. Sullivan calls her into a patient's room, saying he needs her assistance. But the doctor's intentions are far from professional. He tries to force himself on Quinn. She manages to escape and rushes outside, determined to report him to the head nurse. Before Quinn can say anything, however, Dr. Sullivan distracts the head nurse with another matter, leaving Quinn without a chance to file her complaint. That night, after returning home, Quinn searches the internet for information about the Countdown app. She finds news about Courtney's mysterious death. She also comes across a video uploaded by a young woman who claims that ever since downloading the app, she has been seeing the ghost of her brother, who died several years ago. A few moments later in the video, the girl says that her time is up. Suddenly, something terrifying happens to her, and the video abruptly ends. When Quinn checks the comments, however, almost everyone is calling the video fake. Reading those comments gives Quinn a small sense of relief. But the moment she closes her laptop, she suddenly sees Evan's ghost standing right in front of her. She screams in fear. When she quickly switches on the lights, Evan has completely disappeared. At that very moment, her phone once again displays the same warning. You have violated the user agreement. Overwhelmed with fear, Quinn throws her phone onto the floor, smashing it into pieces. Then she rushes outside, gets into her car, and spends the entire night there, too terrified to go back inside the house. The next morning, Quinn's younger sister, Jordan, wakes her up. The two sisters go back into Quinn's room, where Jordan notices Quinn's broken phone. Even though the screen is shattered, the Countdown app is still running. Jordan looks at Quinn and asks, "You downloaded the app too?" Quinn is shocked because she realizes that her younger sister already knows about the Countdown app, and she has downloaded it herself as well. Since Quinn's phone is completely broken, she goes to a mobile phone store to buy a new one. She hopes that once she gets a new phone, the cursed app will finally be gone. But the moment she sets up the new phone, the Countdown app automatically installs itself. Furious, Quinn asks the shopkeeper if he knows anything about the app. The shopkeeper has never heard of it. He even tries to delete the app, but there isn't any option to uninstall it. Frustrated, Quinn grabs her phone and storms out of the store. After overhearing the conversation, a young man named Matt walks over to the shopkeeper and asks him about the same mysterious app. Meanwhile, Quinn gets into her car to drive home. As she looks into the rearview mirror, she sees a mysterious man dressed in black standing behind her car. She immediately turns around, but he has vanished. Suddenly, a pair of terrifying hands belonging to a strange creature covers her mouth. Startled, Quinn accidentally throws the car into reverse, and it nearly crashes into the vehicle parked behind her. The owner of that car jumps out in anger and starts yelling at Quinn. Just then, Matt, the same customer from the phone store, steps in and calms the situation. He introduces himself and tells Quinn that he has downloaded the Countdown app too. He also reveals that, according to the app, he is going to die even before she does. The two decide to sit together in a nearby bar and discuss everything they know about the app. Matt asks Quinn, "Did you actually read the user agreement before you accepted it?" Quinn shakes her head and replies, "No, I just accepted the terms and conditions without reading them." Matt sighs and says, "I made the exact same mistake." Now both of them regret not reading the agreement before tapping accept. Just then, Matt notices a drunk man sitting inside the bar. An idea suddenly comes to his mind. He tells Quinn, "What if we convince that drunk guy to download the app? Then we can read the user agreement before he accepts it." The two approach the intoxicated man, who is rambling about random things. After some convincing, he finally agrees to download the Countdown app. When the user agreement appears on his screen, Quinn quickly takes the phone before he can accept it. She carefully reads the terms and conditions for the first time. That's when they finally discover one of the app's most important rules. Once a user sees the time of their death, they are not allowed to change or avoid the fate that has been assigned to them. Both Quinn and Matt realize that they violated the user agreement by canceling the plans that were supposed to lead to their deaths. Even after hearing the warning, the drunk man carelessly accepts the terms and conditions. Luckily, when the app finishes loading, it reveals that he still has 40 years left to live. Suddenly, Quinn remembers that there is a priest at the hospital where she works. She thinks he might know a way to help them escape this terrifying situation. Quinn and Matt return to the hospital and explain everything about the mysterious app and the demonic visions to the priest. The priest tells them that he doesn't personally believe in demons. However, he gives them the address of another priest who specializes in cases involving demonic forces. Before they leave, the head nurse calls Quinn into a meeting. Inside, Dr. Sullivan turns the situation against her. Instead of admitting his own actions, he falsely accuses Quinn of harassing him. When Quinn tries to defend herself, the meeting's supervisor refuses to listen to her side of the story and fires her from the hospital. At this point, Quinn no longer cares about losing her job. Her only concern is staying alive. Quinn and Matt then travel to a church to find the priest they were told about. Eventually, they meet the father and explain everything about the mysterious Countdown app. After listening carefully, the father tells them an ancient story from the Bible. According to the story, about 100 years ago there was a prince who was about to go to war. The prince was terrified that he might die in battle. So he visited an old gypsy woman and asked whether he would survive the war. The old woman replied that she could tell him the exact moment of his death, but on one condition. Once he learned his fate, he must never try to change or avoid it. The prince agreed. After learning that he was destined to die in battle, fear took over. Instead of going to war himself, he secretly sent his younger brother in his place. His younger brother survived, and the kingdom even won the war. But because the prince tried to escape the fate that had been written for him, a powerful demon named Ocean began hunting him. The demon tortured the prince and eventually killed him at the exact time that had always been destined. After meditating and praying, the father concludes that the same demon, Ojin, is behind everything happening now. He believes the countdown app is simply another form used by the demon to trap its victims. The father tells them that if they truly want to escape death, they must first hack the app and bring him its source code. Only after examining the code will he be able to find a way to free them from the demon's curse. Realizing that they have very little time left, Quinn and Matt rush to the mobile phone shop and ask the shopkeeper to hack the app. At first, he refuses. But when Quinn offers him money, he finally agrees. After working for several hours, he successfully hacks the app and extracts its source code. Quinn quickly takes a photo of the code so she can show it to the father. While examining the hacked system, they discover that the app has millions of users. The shopkeeper also finds his own profile in the database. Out of curiosity, he edits his own code and changes his remaining lifespan to more than 100 years. To everyone's surprise, the trick actually works. Now Derek had complete access to the Countdown app. He could increase anyone's remaining lifespan as much as he wanted. At Quinn and Matt's request, Derek edits both of their countdowns and gives them much longer lives. While checking the database, Quinn suddenly notices her younger sister Jordan's name. To her horror, Jordan is actually supposed to die 3 minutes before Quinn. This means that both Quinn and Jordan were destined to die in the same accident. Without wasting any time, Quinn increases Jordan's remaining lifespan as well. Now Quinn and Matt are overjoyed. They believe they have finally escaped death and that the curse is over. But their happiness doesn't last long. Later that night, Quinn and Matt return to Quinn's house. For safety, they decide to spend the night together in the same room because they are still terrified that the demon might come after them. Before going to sleep, Quinn asks Matt why he downloaded the Countdown app in the first place. Matt explains that he once had a younger brother who was a kind and gentle boy. His brother was seriously ill for a long time and eventually died because of his illness. Since then, Matt has been terrified of death. When he heard about the Countdown app, he downloaded it because he wanted to know how much longer he had left to live. After hearing Matt's story, Quinn shares her own painful memory. One night, she secretly went to a party without telling her mother. When her mother went out looking for her, she was involved in a car accident and lost her life. After opening up to each other, the two finally fall asleep. But in the middle of the night, the demon returns to haunt Quinn once again. A strange whisper echoes through her ears, causing her to wake up. She notices a hand resting on her stomach and assumes it belongs to Matt. As she tries to wake him up by moving his hand, the real Matt suddenly walks into the room through the door. Quinn realizes in horror that the hand on her stomach doesn't belong to Matt at all. It belongs to the demon. The demon immediately attacks Quinn, but Matt bravely grabs the blanket and pulls it away, forcing the demon to disappear. That's when they realize that hacking the app accomplished absolutely nothing. Their countdown timers have reset to their original times. Now Quinn becomes deeply worried about her younger sister, Jordan. At the same time, the demon also begins tormenting Jordan. Just before anything terrible can happen, Quinn arrives and takes Jordan with her. Jordan is completely terrified. The three of them rush to Father John and tell him that the plan to hack the app has failed. The demon is still hunting them. They also show Father John the hacked source code of the app. After carefully examining the code, Father realizes that anyone who violates the user agreement becomes cursed by the demon Ojin. Surprisingly, Father says this is actually good news because a curse can be broken. He then comes up with a plan to defeat the demon at its own game. According to Father, if they can prove the demon wrong, the curse will be broken. In other words, if even one person dies before the time shown by the app, or survives even a few seconds after the countdown reaches 0, the demon's prediction will fail, breaking the curse forever. The four of them head into the church basement, where Father draws a protective ritual circle on the floor. By now, Matt has only a few minutes left to live. Suddenly, the lights begin flickering. Father realizes that the demon has arrived to claim Matt's soul. He quickly orders everyone to stand inside the circle and warns them, "As long as you stay inside this circle, no demonic force can touch you. But whatever happens, do not step outside it, or you will die." Moments later, the terrifying demon appears before them. It tries to attack them, but it cannot cross the protective circle. Then, without warning, Matt sees his dead younger brother standing outside the circle. But this isn't really his brother. The demon has taken his brother's appearance. Overcome with emotion, Matt steps outside the protective circle as soon as he sees what appears to be his younger brother. The moment he crosses the boundary, the demon grabs his leg and drags him away. Seeing this, Quinn runs after him. When she reaches outside, she is surprised to find Matt standing on the road completely unharmed, but only for a moment. A speeding truck suddenly crashes into him, crushing him instantly. As Matt dies, the countdown on his phone reaches 0. Watching Matt die right in front of her leaves Quinn devastated. Now Jordan is next. She has only 2 minutes left to live. Before long, the demon comes to claim her. Jordan tries to hide from the demon, but the countdown app reveals her exact location, allowing the demon to find her. Just as the demon is about to kill Jordan, Quinn steps in front of it. Holding a syringe filled with morphine, she decides to sacrifice herself so her sister can survive. At that moment, the demon transforms into Quinn's deceased mother and tries to manipulate her emotionally. For a brief moment, Quinn is overwhelmed with emotion, but she quickly realizes that it is only another trick created by the demon. Without hesitating, she injects the morphine into herself. As a result, Quinn dies before the time predicted by the countdown app. The demon Ozen's prediction is proven wrong. Instantly, Ozen lets out a terrifying scream before dissolving into smoke and disappearing into the air. Quinn's plan has worked. The curse is finally broken, and Jordan's life is saved. Heartbroken, Jordan rushes to Quinn's body and begins crying. Then she notices the name of another medicine written on Quinn's arm. She also spots a vial of that medicine lying beside Quinn. Realizing it is the antidote, Jordan quickly fills a syringe with it and injects Quinn. Moments later, the effects of the morphine wear off. Quinn slowly opens her eyes. She is alive. With the demon defeated, everyone's countdown freezes, and the curse finally comes to an end. Soon afterward, Quinn gets her job back at the hospital. Dr. Sullivan is arrested and sent to prison for his crimes. A few days later, Quinn visits her mother's grave with her family. As they begin driving back home, Quinn suddenly receives a notification on her phone. She looks at the screen. A brand new app called Countdown has automatically been downloaded. The nightmare may not be over after all. And with that chilling twist, the story comes to an end. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell for more amazing movie explanations.